Hello, I'm Gaston Gosselin, Collage New Music Fellow for the 25-26 season, and today I'm joined by our director, Eric Nathan, who will be having his piece, Missing Words, premiered in its entirety at our upcoming concert on March 1st, 3 p.m. at the Goethe Institute. Eric, welcome.
Thank you, Gaston. Great to be here.
Awesome. So, Eric, what can you tell us about your piece? I know that it's based on a collection of German not quite filler words, but like really reflective words on like the human experience by compiled by Ben Schott. And I'm wondering what your background is with the piece. What were some of your influences with preparing it, and just anything you can like share with us about it?
Sure, yes. So this is going to be the concert premiere of this work. So each work, there's six of them, and they each were commissioned and premiered separately, and then they exist on a CD recording, but have never been played all at once in one long series in a concert. And I've conceived of them as a series. And this piece is inspired by newly invented German words that the British author Ben Schott created in his book Schadenfreude. And Schott came up with 120 new German words, quote, for the human condition. And these are words that whose synonyms don't exist in English. So if you think about a German word like Doppelgänger, there's no such word in English for that, and so we in English speakers have often adopted some German words like that or Schadenfreude into our language. And so I've set now 21 new words that I feel like each one of them talks about an aspect of our daily present that we may not think about too deeply, but you might have all experienced these sensations. And I feel like in the totality of the work, it really speaks to about the experience of life and all of its little moments that we may not notice so closely.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so in the process of trying to evoke some of this language, I know there's a bunch of different kinds of ensemble types that are used all throughout the piece, and I'm wondering how you tried evoking some of the this language through the instruments that you were using. What was that process like for evoking the language?
Sure. Yeah, so there's an octet, there's a duo, there's a brass quintet, there's a sextet, that's the collage instrumentation, there's a mixed quartet, um, there's a whole range of different ensembles, and each one, I wouldn't say that the ensemble itself led me in a certain direction, though I did make use of the technical capabilities of the instruments in these ensembles. So, for instance, for the brass quintet, I was trying to set the word brilliant brilliance, which translates to the sudden clarity you get from a new pair of glasses. And so, in this movement, as in others, I tried to be quite literal with and pictorial in depicting this sensation. Me, as you can see, I'm wearing glasses, and I've experienced numerous times over my life where I've kind of gotten a little lax in updating my prescription, and so when I get the new pair, it's like, oh wow, I can see everything a lot more clearly. So with the brass instruments, I had a few of the instruments remove one of their valve slides. So if we play a trumpet, there's these different slides that come out for each of the pistons. You remove one of them. When you press that piston down, it sounds kind of detuned and fuzzy. And then when you don't have the piston detuned, it comes out the bell and it sounds brilliantly and clear. And so this piece goes back and forth between being kind of like in a fuzzy, non-clear world and a very clear world. Um, and so that the trumpet players have to and the trombonists have to completely refinger and relearn their instruments in a sense for this piece. So it's quite virtuosic, but it's a sound you probably won't hear very often otherwise.
Cool. And maybe this is a personal question, but how did the brass players initially feel about dismantling their instruments?
Oh, I think sometimes there's a sense of novelty of like, oh, we've taken them apart to clean so many times, but can we actually learn how to play with them? But my being a brass player myself, having tried it out on the instruments, I think that lends a little confidence to knowing that it's achievable in the end.
Very cool, very cool. And do you have a favorite word amongst the collection that you selected?
Oh yes, my favorite is Kraftfahrzeug inneres Startungsneus Geräuschgenuss, which is I think 44 characters long, and it translates as new car smell.
This is quite ironic. That was actually my favorite word as well.
Oh yeah, well, you can't get much longer than that, but I would say that perhaps my favorite movement that I've written is called Witzbeharrsamkeit, and this is directly translates as joke insistence, and it's telling a joke over and over until everybody in the room has heard it. And I feel I often do that, and the jokes aren't very funny. I just think that people haven't laughed because they haven't heard the joke. But in this movement, when I was writing it, my wife had the idea: what if you keep reprising the movement of Witzbeharrsamkeit over and over again, as if it's a joke that we need to hear? So you'll get 3 chances to hear the movement Witzbeharrsamkeit in missing word 6, and I'll let you see what the joke is when you go.
Very cool, very cool. I think we all kind of hope sometimes that the more persistence we have in explaining the concept of a joke, that maybe one day it'll get off to the right audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, very cool. Is there anything that you're really hoping that the audience gets out of the listening experience of like listening to this piece?
I'd say just let the music wash over you. In the program, we have the definitions for each of the words, which I think can be a fun kind of Where's Waldo kind of experience of seeing how you can hear these concepts come alive in the music. But in the end, I think if we remove the words, it's still music that speaks as music for itself. And I'd love you to come and experience Collage and Music, which is such an intrepid new music ensemble, pulling off this hour and a half of music. So it's quite an undertaking everyone's coming together to do. And we have Anna Handler as our guest conductor, returning again to the Goethe Institute with the Laundry School of Music Faculty Brass Quintet. It's going to be a great afternoon.
Fantastic. Eric, Nate, thank you so much for joining me today. And to the rest of you out there, I hope you can join us for our concert on March 1st at the Goethe Institute at 3 p.m. in downtown Boston. Eric, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Gaston.